Hello, everyone, and welcome to another amazing day at fmtraining.tv where we discuss the fantastic and wonderful FileMaker platform. My name is Margaret. I'll be here with Kyle Williams to discuss. I don't even know where to begin because you've got like 5 sample files. So a lot is happening today. That's mostly going to be Webviewer navigation, and Kyle will also be showing off a sample file that I think Neil, I'm forgetting her last name, I'm very sorry, sent in.
Neil Jenson.
Thank you. Appreciate it. But that'll be fun. Basically, we're here to discuss, we're here to talk. We stream on 3 platforms. We stream on Discord, we stream on YouTube, and we stream on Twitch. Please talk to us, please ask questions. The entire point of this live stream is supposed to educate and also build a community. So we're here to talk to you guys and chat back and forth and all that jazz and like field your question. Go like, how do I do this in FileMaker? So please do that. We greatly appreciate it. Real quick, we're gonna touch our live stream schedule for the future part of this week. So after Friday, which is today, obviously, we are going to start the 10 days of live code. So if you've ever wanted to build an Android app for FileMaker, which I know many of you out there have, it's probably the most requested FileMaker feature to have existed since they finally made Go. We're gonna do a whole live stream on that with live code. Basically, we'll be starting from the very beginning, and then like, hey, we want to do an app. What app are we gonna build? How are we gonna build it? How are we gonna make it in live code? How are we gonna submit it to the App Store? What do you need to do to keep maintenance on it? How, all those questions, we answer all of them, or we try to for the most part. So, that'll be fun. It'll be 10 days, so the next 2 weeks. If you want to support the channel, because we do this for free 5 days a week, or if you want more thorough and precise training than random live streams, we do have the Learning FileMaker annual subscription. It is 100+ hours of video content. It is presented by Richard on pretty much every topic you can think of on the platform. Richard is an excellent trainer. He's very entertaining and very excitable, so that's fun. So feel free to do that. We would greatly appreciate it. I definitely think it's worth your money. If you want to learn FileMaker more thoroughly or you wish to support us, it's great. Where are we starting today, Kyle? In today's wonderful free sample file extravaganza, what are we doing?
All right. Yeah, so I'm sharing 5 demo files today. Let's get their screen share going and we'll get started. All right, so here we go. Let's get all this stuff off the screen. Don't need any of that. So Neil Jenson shared with us a couple demo files, and this has always been a challenge ever since card windows came out in version 16, that when we create a card window, we can't just click outside of it. We have to actually have an X on there and click the X. So what Neil has done is he's come up with a method that he calls it spawn windows. And what that means is he's opening up a second window that's hidden. It's off screen, you can't see it. And what that does is it creates a list of windows. And when you have more than 2 windows, it allows the windows to be sorted in the order in which they were accessed. So it's basically putting a window in between this parent window and the card window. So that way when you click off of the card window, anywhere onto this parent window, it's going to change the window order, and that'll trigger a script to close the card window. So it's a really cool trick. So it just pops open, you click somewhere on the parent layout, and it goes away. So he did several different demonstrations here. This one I kind of liked. He created a menu here. So you click on File, it opens up a card window. And so basically you can make a menu out of this, and then you can select on any of these, and the next window will pop just beside it, and it'll actually be positioned in line with the option that you select. So if I select 2, you can see it comes straight over on option 2 to a new card window. And what's cool about this is it's pretty much unlimited. You can have this open several card windows. So again, on 2, if I go down to 3, if I go up to 1, so you can see it keeps in line with whatever the selection is. It highlights the selection as the user's going along and making their selections. And then they can close one or more. Oh, okay. So he made it so that it closes all of them when you select the X. But also using this method, you can do this, and then you can just select over here off the screen, and the windows go away. So that was a really cool trick. Just kind of a neat little demo. So he did a bunch of other little demonstrations here as well. So if you select here, there's another card window. He did a number of different things within the card windows. So he has this option to make it bigger and bigger and bigger, or you can select over here to make it smaller and smaller. So that was kind of cool. Then you can shrink it all the way down, like with this button here. And again, it's a card window, and with what he set up is you can select anywhere on the parent window, and that card window goes away. And then, this one is kind of weird. Yeah, this button here, you can see the X in the corner. It actually created a invisible window in front. So it says it may not look like it does anything, but it does. And so probably have to ask him what that does exactly. So still trying to figure that one out myself. So spawn card over. Oh, this was kind of a weird one because this it creates a window in front, but it's detached from the parent window, but it follows it around. So I thought that was kind of interesting too. I had never seen anybody do that. This one, it does not go away when you click on the parent window because it's got some different functionality to it. So I'm just going to go ahead and close it. It says you must close that one manually. Then he's got these other ones where it just creates a card window over the button. And again, you can select anywhere to get it to go away. These all appear to be doing pretty much the same thing. And then he did a couple bonus features here with the web viewers. So here's a web viewer field object to be able to select a date and edit a date. So I showed this yesterday as well on my demo, but yeah, it's really cool that you can bring a web viewer in here. He's overlapping a field with the web viewer. So that way when you go into this might actually be a card window over. Yeah, I think that might be a card window over the top of the field. So that way you can edit it in the card window, and because it's a web viewer, it pops the calendar down over here, and it basically makes it feel like it's part of the field. So cool trick. And then here he did a number slider. So this is also a web viewer. So a really cool trick. I think that's just about it for this one. Try this menu locates. So I'm not sure what that does. So yeah, it would be really great to have Neil on here to be able to show this as well. Maybe you can go a little more in depth, but so, oh, sorry, I got to show all my icons apparently. So we'll go to the next one here. So here he is doing that same method. This is Richard Carlton's demo with navigation. And so you click the demo, and this has all the navigation controls in a sidebar. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do the web viewer navigation. It's because this was a navigation demo, which kind of felt like it would be a good next step to show the web viewer version. But this is used in FileMaker with I believe it's a portal on a card window. And there's another presentation where, correct me if I'm wrong, was it Calvin that did that demo? That was a while ago. Are you still there, Mike?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I muted myself so I could sneeze. Yes.
Hello.
Hello?
Okay, so apparently she's no longer with us.
Hello? Hi.
There you are. Oh,
Okay.
I was trying to figure out.
I unmuted myself
Calvin
and the
that did this
unmute
one?
wasn't working. Yes, it was Calvin who did this.
Okay.
Calvin was responsible for it. I forget, it was like 2 months ago, maybe? Somewhere in the middle of summer.
So really cool demo. I'm not going to go into depth with this because he already did that, but it's really cool that he developed this whole navigation. It's all based in FileMaker, and you can control it all in these other layouts. Oh, I don't know what that's about. Hopefully there's a close card window on window close. Okay, so all right, we need to create a new script here to close the window. What is going on? Okay, so I may have crashed the file. It's not letting me create a script.
Of course it
It's I know why it's not. Okay, so if I go into here on window close, is it? Okay. So what was going on is it works by it's what was it? Let me go back into here. So on window open, it works by installing an on-timer script, and it's running every half a second. So it's trying to catch the sort order and see if the sort order has changed at all. And if it's changed at all, then it's going to close the window. So when we open this up, and if I put the script debugger on, you can see it's checking to see if the open window is still the active window. And it's looking at the list of window names, and it's comparing it with the window list that it previously got just before the new window was opened. So let me start from the very beginning here. We'll close that. So script debugger, and then we'll click demo, and we'll see how he did this. So he did an offset here. That is offsetting the spawn window. So he's setting it to be outside of the visible screen. And then he's creating the new window. And you can see it's got the height and all the settings here. Go into it for a moment, see what he did. So these are all just getting the current window height, width, and top. And then what he's doing is he's adjusting the window left by that offset of 10,000 pixels. So that's going to put it way off to the right of the screen, so you'll never see it on any monitor. So that's that trick. So as we step through this, it's created the new window, and now it's looking at the window style. So window style 3 is going to be a card window. So it's checking if the current window is a card window or not. If it's a card window, then it'll go through this next step. So it hasn't opened the card window yet. So we're going into open the card window, okay. And then here's gonna open up the new window. And now that it's opened up the card window, it's gonna check to see if it's a card window. It's gonna reset the global, and then it's gonna update our window name list. So it's the list of the window names. And now that it has that list of window names, if I go into data viewer, we can see that. So right now, this is what it's populated. So it has spawn and spawn 2 and our navigation menu. So I believe this is our hidden window, and this is a new window it's opening up. So now it's got the on-timer script that'll run every half second after this is done. So now it's opening, it's sorting the records. I'm just gonna minimize that for a moment. So now we can see what's going on in the background. Okay, and then it's resizing the window. So it's basically it's trying to get everything set up, and now it's checking to see if it's still active. So it operates a little differently when you have the debugger open. Sometimes scripts will do that. They'll behave one way, and then when you get the debugger open, all of a sudden the behavior changes because the timing of all the events changes. So it throws things off a little bit. I think that's what happened here. So let's go on window close. Hopefully I didn't mess anything up. Yeah, see there, it's working. Okay, so basically it's created that list, and now every half second it's checking the sort list of all the windows that are currently open. So we got a hidden window, we got the card window, and we got the parent window. The hidden window is currently in between, but if we select this parent window, it'll resort the window order and bring this parent window to the front, which results in the trigger happening. The trigger to close the window happens. So I don't know if I can do this with the debugger open. Yeah, it's so fast. So half a second goes really fast. So I don't know if there's any questions on that. Do the card windows also work in WebDirect? With FileMaker Server 19, I believe the card windows work in WebDirect. Anything older than that, it depends on your FileMaker server. So if you're using FileMaker Server 18, your WebDirect window will appear as a full screen window. It'll just take over, because WebDirect in FileMaker Server 18 and earlier, it can only show one window at a time. So your card window in 18 or earlier will just be its own window. It'll take over the screen. So I have not tested this trick in WebDirect. That would be interesting to see if maybe Neil's done that. Can you type 3 characters to go to the item in the menu? I was able to go to the menu program with 1, 2, 3 press. I'm not entirely sure I understand that. Trying to read David Angel's comment or question. That may just be a comment. I'm not sure. Can you type 3 characters to go to? Oh, you can. It says cool. Next week I will work with FileMaker 19. Yeah, definitely upgrade to FileMaker 19. It is definitely way better than anything before, especially with Webviewer functions. So for these next demos, you're definitely going to need FileMaker 19. These won't work in earlier versions. They can work, but you have to use the FMP URL. Currently, these are using the FileMaker 19 functions. So basically, I have a whole bunch of layouts here. So there's 7 layouts. And I wanted a way to create a navigation that I can scroll and I can see all the icons. So I created these CSVs. I've showed before in previous demos how you can easily create SVG icons for FileMaker. You can use those SVGs here as well, and we'll show you how in a minute. So first, I just want to show that how this works. There is a little bit of a flash. So I made sure that in the background I put a little rectangle in the background, so that way it wasn't just a white flash. So this rectangle here will show it behind the Webviewer to be able to keep it the same color. Otherwise, the Webviewer has a bright white flash to it. So when I was creating this, I was like, I didn't like that white flash, so that this looks a lot better doing it this way. So you can see the layout name as I go through these. Another challenge with this was trying to get the scroll position. So when you navigate to the new layout and it does that flash, we want to make sure that it stays in the scroll position. So if I click System, I'm still hovering over that same button. So that way it captures that scroll position. So I also did a vertical version. The vertical version was actually inspired by the Launchpad that the RCC put out. So in Launchpad, they have this side menu here. And so this is what actually inspired me to create this. Because I wanted to be able to do the same thing, but have a web viewer. And one of the benefits of using a web viewer is all the code is it's in one script. It's all in one place. So all the code is right here, and it's driven by JSON. So you can change this JSON to whatever order you want. You can change the names of the layout. So here's the names that here's the names that it has on the icons. So it has the icon name and then the title below the icon. And then it has the order in which it's going to show up and the ID of the layout. So those are the parameters. This is the physical name of the layout for to navigate to, but it also uses it actually uses the ID. The name of the layout is just for description. This may change over time, and we didn't want this to break, so it does use the layout ID to navigate. So basically, it uses that JSON, and then it goes through this, and it creates all the HTML. Right here, it's where it's getting the SVGs from. So you can create the SVG real easily, and basically this is what it looks like. And the only thing I did is I swapped out symbol, SVG for symbol, because when you create an SVG, this says SVG. So I wanted to change that to symbol, and then it has to have an ID that starts with icon dash, and then everything after the dash, you can, this is where you can identify your SVG, and we can map it to these variables that way. Just looking for any questions here.
Nothing on Twitch or YouTube again. Okay. YouTube says they're good so far, but
okay, awesome. All right, so yeah, that's kind of my method of creating SVGs and bringing them into a web viewer within FileMaker. Here you can see the SVG. So there, this actually worked with SVG, so maybe I don't have to change to that because the mobile's been working. Cool. Okay, I just learned something. But the very important thing is that we have ID equals then icon dash, because the script looks at this to recognize that it's an icon, and then we just add mobile to it. And then right here puts all the SVGs together in a list and prepares it for the HTML. And then here it's looping through the JSON object to create all the rows. So this is creating a bunch of A tags. I don't know, probably everybody doesn't know HTML, but basically this is a hyperlink. So href is a hyperlink reference, and then it's looking at the icon. So here it's using that icon dash, so that needs to be in the name of the SVG. And then here is the variable we're using that we're loading in from the SVG. So, and let's see. So yeah, it's looking, I use the layout IDs for everything. So here's, it's using the layouts ID. And I'm also using the script ID as well to call the next script. And then we have the JavaScript button. So there's some JavaScript here that drives everything. And here I'm getting the scroll position from the web viewer, and then I'm using the values from this to be able to find that same scroll position in the next function. So when you're calling a JavaScript function from FileMaker, using FileMaker's functions, saying perform this JavaScript in this web viewer by this name, you have to put a window in front of your function. So it has to be window dot your function name equals, it has to be just like this. When you're creating functions inside of the JavaScript for the web viewer itself to use, it's going to look like this. So that's your standard JavaScript function and the name of the function, and then a parameter within that. And then this function calls a script inside of FileMaker. I pulled the script out. I use a substitute, so that way this can be changed without having to go into here. I like to change all my settings at the very top. So sure, it's here somewhere. Maybe I didn't put it at the top of this one.
it happens. You only had to organize like a
oh, it's right there, script name
pile.
Yeah, so I created this one a while back in February. So you know, you get better the more and more you practice it. So obviously I've changed my technique as the months have gone by. So you get better and better as you start coding this stuff and figuring it all out. So yeah, here you can see so we have the hide web viewer, which hiding the web viewer exposes a rectangle behind it. And so here we're refreshing the object in order to be able to adjust the hide value. So we're adjusting the variable that's hiding the object. So actually, I think this hide Webviewer is that in the Webviewer itself? Again, this was back in February, so it's kind of not fresh in my mind anymore. So we have the Webviewer and the rectangle behind it, and the hide. So right there, it's hiding it. And so by refreshing it, it updates it and makes it either hidden or visible when you refresh the object. So you can see up here, I did the hide Webviewer and put the 1 in there to make it true. And then I refreshed it so that way it would toggle that visibility. And then it goes ahead and it loads all this JavaScript into it. It loads all the icons into it and puts the Webviewer together. And then at the very end, we're going to the scroll position. So we retrieve the scroll position and then we bring it back to that same position at the end. And then it's all ready to go. And that's this one, so that way we can scroll down, we can hit mobile at the bottom, and it doesn't return at the very top. Oh, thanks, Ruben. He's commenting about the SVGs and variables. The great thing about putting the SVGs and variables is it makes them very portable. So if I go back into here, in my actual file where I use this, I have a special script just for retrieving the SVGs that I want, so I don't get a bunch of SVGs that I don't want, and it just makes the script run a little faster. I'm not having to load so much data into my HTML. So I just say I want this list of SVGs. It calls that script and it gives me the response with the SVGs I want in the order I want, and it's just ready to go. In this case, because it's a demo, I just left all this in the script here. So we wanted to be able to create a new SVG. So I'll go ahead and show you how to do that. And if I go to, what's it? So I go to the FileMaker TV. Let's see. Okay, so do this same way I did before. So I have a special website I go to that allows me to create an SVG with any thumbnail. So we're just going to go ahead and let's go ahead and use this one. It's a little more clear. So I'm just going to take that screenshot. I'm going to upload the picture and desktop. There's my screenshot. Open that. Okay, and then if I scroll down, you can see there's the icon and the SVG. I can adjust the SVG so it's a little more clear. And I can say download the SVG. And then it's going to go to my downloads folder. So I'm going to open that up. Oh, I have to open it up in, give me just a moment here. Downloads, SVG. And then, don't know why that's not opening. There we go. Okay, so here's the SVG from Richard Carlton's website. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take out the XML at the very top here. I don't need that. I just want the SVG. Obviously, they didn't create this. RCC did. And the other thing we want to take out is this fill, because we want to be able to color it whatever color we want. We don't want it preset. And so then we just copy all of that. So I'm going to copy it. Save it, sure. All right, so let's close that. And we're going to, sorry, I forgot one step here. Let's go ahead and copy this, paste it, and then pull that back out. And we'll just paste that right in here, just like that. And here we'll change this to RCC. And remember I said you need the ID. So right here, we have to have this ID in here. So copy. And we're going to put that ID right here. Make sure it has a space before and after this, so that way it can when it's reading all this into the engine, it's going to be able to know that that's the ID. It's not going to be merged with these other values. So yeah, let's try this with just SVG. Because as I said before, I was always swapping it out with symbol. But since mobile seems to work, let's go ahead and try this. So here we're going to load up our SVG. And it's basically, I'm just going to copy and paste that in here. And we'll say RCC. Okay. And then say OK. So now it's going to load that into the Webviewer. Okay, and then we also need to adjust the JSON. So we need to add one more element in here. Or maybe we'll just do this, RCC. I don't recall if I did uppercase or lowercase or icon. Oh, that's why I couldn't remember. Okay, so we'll go with lowercase, say OK. And we'll go back into the JSON and we'll just map that to here, lowercase, so it matches. Everything in JavaScript is case sensitive, so that's something to be careful of. That should work, and that's the vertical. So I'm going to save that and we'll run it. Okay, so I did something wrong. Let's try changing this to symbol, just see if that does a trick. Okay. Yay, there it works. So symbol is required. I don't know how the mobile is working, but there we go. So now you can see that you can add the icon in there. That was a bit of an experiment. I haven't actually tried that on purpose to keep it as SVG. But you can see I changed it to symbol and everything works. So I don't know if there's any questions yet. You want FileMaker to color the SVG, so it must be uncolored. Yes, in this case, the Webviewer, the CSS is going to color it. Because the icon was black by default, black would blend into the background. You wouldn't be able to see it. So we're using the CSS. We can change all these icons to any color we want within our CSS, which is right here. And if I wanted to change the icon color, it's doing current color. Oh, that's okay. I'm trying to make sure that I'm doing this right. It's been a long time. Let's try blue. Save. There you go. So there you can see it changed all the icon colors to blue, just like I wanted. And now you know how to do that. So I'm just going to go ahead and change that back to white. Because blue on black is kind of hard to see. And we'll save. We'll run it again. And there we go. Let's see, I'm trying to read through the comments here. See if there's any more questions.
Kyle knows the site better than us. Nothing on YouTube or Twitch yet, so you're good there.
Okay. Yeah, so these basically use the same HTML, the same CSS. So if you style something here or here, it's basically done the same way. So that shouldn't really be an issue. And see, if I go back to vertical, I was just noticing that it still said mobile here. So I should have also changed this as well. So we can change that, save, update. Now it says RCC. So that's how that works. Let's go ahead and move on to our next demo here. So I'm just going to show my icons here for a moment. Sorry. It's kind of a mess. So this one, it's really cool. This is my newest Webviewer navigation. So basically it has all these drop-down menus that you can select. This is super customizable. You can put little Unicode icons in there. So if I go to, say, timesheets or payroll, you can see the layout name changes. If I go to staff, it just says staff. I go to system, I can go to developer, mobile. And then I can select home to go back home. So this is the parent level, and then these are the child levels down here. So it's fully customizable. You can do buttons up here, you can do buttons down here. So if you don't want the drop down, you just want the home button to stay there. So you don't have to go into one of these lower menus, you can. So also you can customize this for different people. So say you got people that work the front desk and you want them to have their own menu. So this real simple and quick, easy to do. It's all driven by the parameter when you click this. So like the on-site team has their own stuff, tablet imports that the clinics, the front desk wouldn't have. So again, I work for massage clinics, so that's where that comes from. We have therapists that work out in the field at workplaces like Boeing and hospitals and stuff. So they use a tablet, and so this handles integration from the tablets. And that's something that only on-site would use. So accounting, very simple. They just work with their batches and importing and exporting from QuickBooks, that sort of stuff. So I did another one for insurance, and then the developer needs to have his own menu as well, or her menu. So I wanted to make sure that you can do that as well. And again, you can have top level buttons, or you can have these that drop down to the next level. And then I did this. The button here, I wanted to just put on here so that we can customize it, so that way you can see what it's looking at. So you can see that's a Webviewer, obviously. So the top menu, this is your top menu. And you can see I just did a little down arrow with the name of it. And this is the array 0, which is the first array. And then all the submenus for that menu. This is our layout number. So these all go to because it's a demo, these all just go to the same layout. Well, there I got 55. So yeah, basically just for demonstration purposes. And then we got the shifts menu, and then everything that goes under shifts, the names of each of the buttons here, and the layout ID for those buttons. So hopefully that makes sense to everyone, how that works.
Yeah, I think YouTube and Twitch are again still very quiet, so I assume they're following along.
Question
Labo
about
has a
find
question.
mode. So find mode, I don't know that Webviewers work in find mode actually, because the code goes away. I can't right click on it. When you're in browse mode, you can right click and you can see reload and inspect, and these will show up if the Webviewer is available. So, but I can't imagine the user really wanting to navigate while in find mode. A developer might want to do that, but the developer has their own menus up here, so we can still get around. There's still this menu here, but maybe you don't want the users to be able to have that ability. I don't really see a user going into find mode and then trying to change layouts. So I don't know that that's really much of an issue in the real world. Let's see. Question of David on the site where the screenshot is converted to SVG. The exported SVG is one color. On the site, well, once you download the SVG, you can manually change the color to whatever you want. It's a hex code. And when you're bringing it into FileMaker, whether you're using it for a button or for an icon in a Webviewer, you're not going to want to have it preset to any color. You're going to want to be able to change that in FileMaker with script, or with JavaScript, or with CSS. Yeah, so are there any other questions here?
Nada. Scott,
okay.
there's lots of good nuggets, which is very true. People
Yes.
are typing in Discord.
So I have this 5th demo, which I'm just going to show briefly here, and it inspires the next part of this presentation. So years ago, well, this is 2019, so it was a couple years ago, I created this demo. I was just kind of playing around with using JSON for navigation purposes. And so I can go to various layouts, and you can see all the previous layouts that I was at in the order in which I traveled to them. And then you can see the current layout. And then if I use the back button, it shows the next layout. So it gives me the next layout with the layout ID, layout name. I was also trying to make it work across multiple files. I never got that far, but I do have an idea of how to do that, and I'll probably return to this file one day and implement that. But basically, this goes back and forth between the layouts. If I should, okay, I was expecting a tooltip to pop up. There it is. Okay, so yeah, it has tooltips to tell you what the previous and next layouts are. I don't know why it's not working on that one. But yeah, it'll tell you the previous layout, and you can do the same formula here for the next layout. I can clear the JSON here. So basically, it's capturing all the layouts. So I started on home, I went to 1, I went to 2, and now I'm on 3. And then I can go back, and you can see it just adds it to the next part, and now there's no more previous. It kind of goes off screen here, but basically that's how that works. And when I was developing this new feature, I wanted to kind of bring that in here. So I have a checkbox here for demonstration. And now if I go to timesheets, you can see there's the back button. Maybe I go to payroll. So now I'm on payroll. I was on timesheets. So there I hit the back button, went to timesheets. Here I'm back to the original layout of home. And then I got the forward buttons. So yeah, you can add extra buttons just like that. So I thought that would be a really cool addition. I was just kind of playing around with it, seeing what I thought of that, and maybe other people like that feature as well, to be able to have those arrows. Then I can turn them off. And so when I go here, So I put this here so that you can toggle that on and off. It's kind of a cool feature. It might get annoying. I don't know. I haven't played around with that a lot, so just thought that would be cool to add.
Alpha Lima is kind of having an issue on Windows, apparently. On the top menu, I'm not getting the down caret. I get a 3/4.
So this is a Unicode character. I don't know if that appears differently on Windows. Again, I did all of this on a Mac, so you may need to change the Unicode for that. So we can change that. So when I select this, just kind of show you what I'm doing here. I have a custom function, and then I put a parameter in there of what navigation menu I want, and then it returns the JSON. So if I go to manage custom functions, and we go over here, navigation menus. So here, this is a Unicode character. So there's a house. Here's the down arrows. So if you don't like that, you can change that to whatever you want. See if I can find another one. Unicode arrows. Say down. Okay. So I'm just doing a Google search here. Arrow symbols, Unicode. So there's so many symbols that are available. So I'm sure one of these works pretty good on Windows. This one doesn't work on Mac, but that might work on Windows. So you can try these different things here. Oh, apparently I went one too many layouts. So you can actually, I'm just going to copy this and paste that in there. So now I have a great big down arrow. And that's on my, okay. That's on my, this one here. So you can see there, it's different arrows. So that's how you can change the arrow. And maybe this arrow will work better on Windows, I don't know. But that's something to try out that can fix that. So I don't know if anybody else has any more questions. Oh, let me go back into here. Custom functions. So
we do have one question from David Angel. Did you get the one from David Angel? How did Kyle catch a pic from RCC logo? That is the capacity of the OS.
I can show you again how I got the RCC logo in there. I'm not sure what the capacity of the OS means. Okay, so I was just showing that we have this custom function in here that I created with the menu name. And you can see here, if you want the accounting one, it'll bring this menu. So you can change it to any of these and customize this to your own sub menus and sub menus. So yeah, this is all fully customizable. You can also just copy and paste the JSON itself into your button. So that's why I put this button on here. And that's where I just basically did that. I copied and pasted that JSON formula right in here. And now I can edit this. I can change the names to whatever I want. So if I want to say home here, it'll say home. So when I exit out and I click this button, now it says home. So I don't know what that was. Maybe, anyhow. So how to get the SVG logo? Let me show that again. Apparently you missed that part of the presentation. So there's a website, picksvg.com. And so there's a website. And I can copy and paste that into Discord here. And there's also in Discord, there's a resource or icon sharing section where I also did a video on my YouTube channel. There's a link there so you can see the video of this if you forget later. But basically, I have a screenshot, and I uploaded the screenshot into this website. So there's the original, and then I was able to create the SVG from this. There's different thicknesses and different versions of it. As you go through this, you can kind of select whichever one you like best. And then you just select download SVG. And then show in Finder. And then just open with a text editor. Can be any text editor. And basically here, once you're here, I would just get rid of this XML. It's just extra stuff. It's not being used anywhere. And then here's the fill. So you can change this fill color to whatever you want if you want it to always be that color. Or if you want FileMaker or your CSS to change color, just get rid of it. And as you edit in the CSS, it'll add that color to your SVG. And then basically I just copied this and pasted this text into FileMaker. Full color. There is websites that will create SVGs with multiple colors. I think up to 5 colors is the most I saw. But you can look for SVG converters. There are several of them out there. I just have had the most luck with this one. It's always consistently worked, and I'm just creating them to bring into FileMaker. FileMaker can change the colors to any color I want, natively or within the Webviewer. I can use CSS to control it. But yeah, I think that's it. Change that back. I think that's all I had.
Nope, I think you're good. I'm just checking to make sure that no questions are hovering around. It doesn't convert full color. That's a question, I think.
Yeah, because SVGs are ordinarily just one solid color. In order to split it up into multiple colors, it has to create multiple sections of the SVG, and each of those sections would have its own color, and it creates much more complicated code. It's a lot more to look at. So just having no color and it's all one color that's defined by FileMaker, then it's much simpler code to both look at, to work with, to load into your Webviewer, to load into FileMaker as a button, SVG. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much, Kyle. This has been very interesting. And you put a lot of work into it. And then Neil, also thank you for sharing the sample files. And thank you very much for Kyle for going through and sharing them and talking to them about us. We greatly appreciate it. A lot to process.
Yeah,
Sure.
it is a lot to process. We don't normally do 5 demos all at once like this, but they were short, quick, simple demos mostly. This last one being the biggest, I think. But it all worked out, and it's just before 2 p.m. So
you timed that beautifully.
I think we did good.
Cool. I think we're good for today then, everyone. You have a lovely Friday.
Awesome.
And everyone have a great weekend, all right?
All right, have a great weekend.
Same to you. Bye.
And the guys just stepped up the whole way. Calm, cool, collected. The quarterback, great read, good patience. More importantly, great job up front protecting this quarterback to give you a chance. And that's all you can ask for.
Try to rally down 10. 9:25 to go here in the fourth. Short motion by Amendola from the left. Brady takes the shotgun snap, stands in, throws it left for Amendola, reaches up and snacks a high throw and lands inside the 10, rolling to the 9. Ball slightly behind him, but Danny makes the grab.